Hello everybody, my name is Melissa Wells and I'm going to present on Equitable Education, Essential Elements for Inclusive Courses. So to begin, I love collaborating, I love connecting with people, so feel free to reach out to me on X or LinkedIn. But for this presentation, I'm going to focus on two areas. So to begin, I'm going to talk about accessibility, changes we can make, and showing you the reasoning behind those. Also, I'm going to identify some quick wins that you can take right now into your classroom or designing your courses. So I want to talk about this group text I was on a while back. So somebody in the group text sent this picture of a mama bear and her two cubs on the side of the road. Then that same person text, Don caught the big one. Well, shortly after, somebody else on the group text said, is he keeping it? And he replied, it's in the cooler. So, some context around this. These two gentlemen were fishing and they were on their way home from their fishing trip and they saw these bears on the side of the road and took the picture. And I was sitting here reading this group text. I saw the pictures of the bears come in. I'm like, oh, cool. They saw those on the side of the road. And then Don caught the big one. Oh, I'm thinking the big one, that's a fish. Well, the other person on the text didn't realize that and thought Don went and caught the big bear. And the person writing the original text didn't realize that. And here he is thinking, oh, yeah, the fish is in the cooler. It's coming home. This wasn't very clear. And although one person reads it one way, somebody else could read it another way, which is proven here. So what does this mean? Well, clear navigation and instructions are crucial. So in the example of the bear and the fish text, if the person that sent the original text would have divided the two items into two separate distinct texts, it would have been beneficial. For example, maybe saying, hey, look at what we saw on the side of the road, two bears. Then saying, hey, Don caught a big fish in camp this week and we're bringing it home. So it could have been clearer and the instructions could have been better. So when we're designing content, building courses, building trainings, we want to provide clear instructions when needed to help learners navigate through course content. Also, we want to make our content clear and concise. Next, you want to use headings. Headings will help you greatly. You don't want to just make fonts bigger and change the color. You want to use the features in the tool you're working in to add headers. Also, use the same navigation every page, place the navigation in the same location on every page, and use the same or similar button style throughout the content. This is important because if somebody's going to go navigate from page to page and you keep switching the navigation around, it's going to become difficult. This is across the board, it's going to become difficult for every student. So next, I'm going to have you watch this video. So closed captions and transcripts are crucial. We need to include accurate closed captions to videos and podcasts. And although you And although closed captions, there's a lot of auto captions available, you always want to double check them because mistakes can happen. We need to use accurate transcripts as well. Is there visual content that needs to be explained? Transcripts are a text version of the speech and non-speech audio information. You need to understand the content. So for example, if I didn't just read the information on the screen, I'd want to provide that information in a document. So a student or a learner can get the exact same information no matter what. So I'm going to have you read this paragraph. Accessibility considerations are crucial when designing digital content, especially regarding text readability. Text that is difficult to read due to small font size, low color contrast, or complex typography can present significant barriers for individuals with visual impairments or reading difficulties. Implementing clear and legible fonts, ensuring sufficient color contrast between text and background, and providing options for adjusting text size and style are essential strategies to enhance accessibility and make digital content more inclusive for all users. So, for example, let's say you're giving a lecture and you have a PowerPoint and you fill it up with text, and to get all that text on that slide, you make the font really, really, really small. That's extremely difficult to read. You want to avoid that. You could actually break that content down into multiple slides and make the font larger. Also, low color contrast. If you use colors that are close in relation, it can become difficult to see. And also complex typography you want to avoid. As pretty as it may look, it can cause issues and learners may not be able to get the information that you're trying to convey to them. Now I'm going to read this text to you. Heading out on the boat with my trusty GPS and sonar, I locate a promising spot using waypoints for my last trip. Armed with my BFS, set up in a selection of jigs and soft plastics, I begin to work the water column, targeting the structure indicated on my FF. As I finesse the bait with a gentle twitch, twitch, pause, retrieve, I feel a solid strike, and I quickly engage the drag on my spinning reel, ensuring a smooth fight against that feisty bass. With CPR in mind, I carefully release the fish back into the depths, marking the catch as a successful LMB on my logbook. If you're a fisherman or fisherwoman, that may have made sense to you. If you do not fish, that may have been very confusing, frustrating, and maybe caused a little anxiety. When you're designing content, you're building content, you want to avoid jargon or consider providing a glossary. You want to explain unknown abbreviations and acronyms the first time they are used. So I threw a ton of abbreviations and acronyms in there. What do they mean? If I would have explained what FF represents, it would have been clearer. If I explained what GPS represents, it would have been clearer. Also, you want to avoid figures of speech and metaphors that may be unfamiliar. Although a figure of speech may be familiar with you and your everyday life, does not mean everybody has that same experience. And it can actually become frustrating and cause anxiety trying to figure out the meaning behind it. Avoid excessive use of slang, acronyms, and technical terms, or explain them if necessary. For example, I come from a science background. There are a ton of technical terms that have to be learned, but they are explained. We need to explain what they are. Now I'm going to have you watch this video.
Count how many times the players wearing white passed the ball. The correct answer is 16 passes. Did you spot the gorilla? For people who haven't seen or heard about a video like this before, About half missed the gorilla. If you knew about the gorilla, you probably saw it. But did you notice the curtain changing color or the player on the black team leaving the game? Let's rewind and watch it again. Here comes the gorilla, and there goes a player, and the curtain is changing from red to gold. When you're looking for a gorilla, you often miss other unexpected events.
So too much information and color contrast are two important topics to consider. So color contrast refers to the contrast between two adjacent colors. So you want that contrast to be drastic. For example, black on white. Also, when we talk about color, you never want to use color as meaning. For example, in your content, if you said, select the green button, what happens when somebody can identify the color green? Are they going to be able to find that button? Are they going to be able to select it? Are they going to be able to move on? Probably not. Also, if color is being used, make sure to use indicators or descriptors for that color to help convey the meaning. Next, busy pages, too much text, too many images, and too much other content can cause cognitive overload, anxiety, and loss of focus. Simplified content and a consistent, simple design help reduce cognitive overload and decrease stress and mental fatigue. So, if you miss the gorilla, if you miss the color change on the curtain because that red to orange is very close. If you miss the person leaving, if you couldn't count the number of passes, there was so much going on there. But imagine if we pulled each component out. For example, maybe we just had the gorilla walking across the screen. Now, some quick wins, things you can take with you today and start implementing in your content. First of all, replace click with select. Not everybody can click, so inclusive language is very important. Provide alt text for images. So if you're using an image in your content, what's the purpose of that image? Could text be used instead? If that image is crucial to your design, to your content, what information does the learner need to take from that image? Is it truly decorative, meaning, without that image, the students would be good? But with that image, and if there's something specific, maybe it's the first time a topic's discussed, maybe there's a crucial definition in there, maybe there's a concept that the students need to know that's in that image, you want to provide that description to go into the alt text. So every student's getting the same information. Also, make sure to correct closed captions and transcripts. There are a ton of auto closed captions, which is a great jumping off point, but many times they're not accurate. Next, don't autoplay videos. When you talk about autoplaying videos, if somebody were to read through a page and a video automatically start, and let's say they're using a screen reader, they will have double voices. If you've ever had this where maybe you're on a Zoom call and then you accidentally select a video and you have somebody talking and the video going, it's not the best feeling in the world. So allow the students to play the videos when they're ready. Use headers and design with screen readers in mind, and utilize in-app accessibility checkers when producing documents or content. So, for example, if I'm building in an HTML page in Brightspace, I use their accessibility checker to double check my work. Although I'm using it to double check my work, I'm making sure to make it as accessible as I can as I'm building, and I'm checking based on facts that I know, things that I need to include.